Hello again from Custom Home Builder Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software for the professional home builder. This is a little continuation in a series of videos I've been doing about how from the beginning out in the field could show that work was done on certain POs, how the bookkeeper can post from those POs, or if you're not using POs, can also post job cost bills and look and drill down on things, to review overages, to review other things about it, see notes, etc. that have been written from the field when they did approve work done on certain POs. And then how after posting those unpaid bills and maybe attaching copies of the bills and the bookkeeper writing notes themselves that the people in the field could see, people in the field could use this button for approve unpaid costs and bring up just job costs to check mark as okay to pay. That doesn't mean they're selecting them to pay. It means they're just check marking them as okay to pay. And you saw various tools that they could see there. And I talked about how that might be, instead of routing around big stacks of bills and people in the field having to stop or come into the office, they can see all the posted bills, unpaid bills on screen, drill down to copies of them, drill down to overages, look at everything related to them, and check mark them that yes, this is an okay one to pay. Now we are going to be what I call the big boss, the owner of the company, and you can see I'm logged in as somebody else. I'm not the bookkeeper being me anymore. I'm being the big boss, and the big boss can also do approval of bills and can open, the person with the top permission level like that can open unpaid payables, and then click the big button for all unpaid payables right now. And the great big, if you had a big list, it might take a little longer to open. There's also so many tools and checkboxes and this and that on this window, but sometimes it can take just a couple moments to get open. But you can see that first of all we have all the bills for this vendor ABC Foundation, which we have been talking about a little bit in our previous videos. We were only looking at bills for this job that ends in 3811, so we were looking at these. There's 2 or 3 other bills in here from other jobs also, but the big boss coming in can see these, can, like I showed you before, see a paper clip and open a copy of the bill if the bookkeeper uploaded a copy of the bill. But let's say on this line nobody in the field has approved it, the big boss is just looking at it and maybe wants to see, this is 2500 concrete pumping and this ABC Foundation for some notebook they want. Maybe you kind of know about this and you're thinking, I'm not going to pay them for a notebook they bought for themselves or something, who knows, whatever. But the big boss could write a note and say, do not pay this, delete this, I will take care of it. Could say per big boss. Maybe something like that, and save it. So that if I'm also the bookkeeper being on this screen, I can see that there's a pinned note here. And so what I might do is click the X button to go ahead and delete this. Or I might decide to go post a reversing entry to it so we have a trail of what happened, because this note is actually attached to this record and there's no PO attached to this to get rid of it. It's just some entry that was made for some bizarre reason. So based on your internal preferences, you could just delete that now, which means you would also have a deletion of this note about it. But so you could make a minus entry. You could go to the Add New Payables entry and make a credit entry to reverse it, so that there is a reversed per, big boss type thing. And so you keep a record of those notes. That's just simply up to you. If you decide it's okay to just delete it, when you delete a record, there'll be a copy of it in the audit table showing who deleted it and when. But that's just an example of how the big boss can do that. So on this first line for concrete pumping for 2500, maybe the big boss would like to drill down to the ECC and see that for that 2125 concrete pumping, there was a budget for 2,500, POs for 2,500, and there's this cost we're looking at that is unpaid. So might decide that that's okay, or might decide to see if there's been any other notes about this for whatever reason, which this is the same thing I've been showing you. You can pull up and just look at if there are any notes or what the budget notes were, etc. So the big boss might just go ahead and mark this as okay. Did not want that one to be okayed. Here's another little one for $300. So might look at the ECC again. You can see there's been no budget for that ABC budget. $300, and you're kind of wondering what that bill is, and it would be great if the bookkeeper, when posting it, had uploaded a copy of the bill, but maybe you're going to do some further investigation on that to see if you can see anything about it, and it's probably just something I entered for demo. But anyway, that just sort of gives you an idea, so maybe the big boss isn't ready to approve that one yet. Big boss can see on these two that they have been approved by the field in the OK1, and can do the same kind of drilling down to these two that we've had in our previous videos and determining whether to pay them or not. They could go ahead and check mark these as these are okay to pay, and so on. You can see how they can go through and they can see things, and I'm not sure if I've entered very much in this for just regular overhead bills. There's a credit card payment that is an overhead bill, and you think your bookkeeper knows what they're doing and whoever is posting credit card payments. So you go ahead and check mark that one, or you can ask the bookkeeper about it, or you check marked okay, Office Depot, notes on notebook. This is an upfront deposit credit, so the builder wouldn't really be approving that yet. Or the builder might see now that we've had a credit and now we've posted all these and do a bunch of drilling down and decide to go ahead and mark all these as okay to pay, because you can see that now we did a demo about if you did a big upfront payment, how you'd be holding onto this credit one until you have enough bills in that make it more that's due. But anyway, you can see how the big boss can get in here, can look at some things, can write some notes to the bookkeeper that'll come in and actually, the column here, and we'll be going over this screen and everything that's on it in a video all by itself just for this window, but I'm just talking about doing approvals right now. So you can see how if you had some, I don't know, some internal policy that all you select to pay, because the bookkeeper comes in and starts selecting to pay, and should notice whether there's any sorts of notes over here, should pay attention, would pop up that note, and see that the, I don't think I clicked on it right, pop up that note, and see that what the big boss is saying to do and why it's not check marked. So that's a way to get some little notes back to the bookkeeper. So, but one thing, if your policy was that she or he, the bookkeeper, is only going to do checks for ones that have been okayed in the OK2 column, I could do select groups to pay. Notice how these are all not check marked right now. And I could just say I want to do approvals that are yes in the approval to column, yes to yes. So I'll select bills to pay based on the above selections. So it's only going to check mark to pay the ones that have OK2s in them. And so that's a fast way for the bookkeeper to get those updated. See how these that have OK2 in them got also marked to pay. And we'll, like I said, we'll do some more coming in. Let's see if any more got marked to pay. This one got marked to pay that had the OK2 in it. So you can see how that works. You can use all kinds of ways to select groups to pay, or the bookkeeper can just be going down and check marking these as needed to include in a check run. And then once they're marked as to pay, and like I said, we'll have other videos about this, but once they're marked to pay, then you can use the print checks button and print all the checks that are marked to pay. checks for all the entries marked to pay, that kind of thing. So I think that by going over really what all these tools are about approving the work in the field, you can see and look at notes from the field by using this little pencil edit icon. You can see, like I've shown before, all the different notes from work in the field or from the budget, or these kinds of, if I click that one where the big boss, not where the big boss said something, but where everybody else was saying something that we've seen in our other videos, you can see various notes that have been going on, some just from demo. That thing for the notebook, if you clicked this, you're going to see that. And that big notes pencil, that big notes notebook looking thing, you can see that by this bill here, do not pay. Will only be there if there is a cost code, because actually those notes are really coming from work in the field for things to do with job costs or budgets, etc. You can, if it didn't have a cost code, you would still be able to see these approval notes right here that the big boss had written. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good idea more quickly of sort of the flow of how you can write notes to each other, really how you might stop routing all the bills around, first to the field's desk and then to the boss's desk, that you can actually use CHS to do a lot of communication between the field, the bookkeeping department, and the big boss, and get these approved and monitor your costs and use the tools to make sure that you're not about to overpay something. I hope that helps, and thank you for watching.